MUNI hacked, how self-driving cars skirt regulations in order to get on the road faster, and why we might have already missed ET's call. All that and a whole lot more coming up on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1649, recorded Monday, November 28th, 2016.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, and just in time for the holidays, get $5 off the limited edition holiday set at harrys.com and use the code TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about technology, and we have been very busy working on all of the tech news because we are, as I like to call us, the Santa's elves of tech news.
Every single day for the entire year, you've been calling us Santa's elves while we're working on this stuff. And I'm like, What are you talking? It's not even Christmas time. Mm-hmm. Now it is.
Yes.
You have your month.
Right. We wear little hats. We have hammers. We put them saws, and we've been working very hard. And I'm Megan Maroney.
And I'm Jason Howell. Every time I type, a little bell rings like ding, 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 ding. It's not annoying at all. It's really not annoying at all. Christmas. Okay, hey, let's talk about stuff that kind of has to do with the holidays. Shopping. A heck of a lot of people bought stuff this Friday, a day known by many as Black Friday. Adobe has been tracking e-commerce transactions for the holiday season and says sales were notable for a few reasons. First, the day set a sales record at around $3.34 billion spent for Black Fridays, 21.6% more than last year. Second, mobile sales were enormous at around $1.2 billion, a 33% increase from last year. Mobile also accounted for 40% of Black Friday sales, according to Adobe. Everybody's getting in on the Black Friday hype. The fake holiday. It's all about buying stuff. I know I did. Did you?
I know. On Friday...
So I'm ashamed to say I did.
I did not buy... No, I didn't buy anything on sale.
Wow, how did you do that? How do you do that? Everything's on sale.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how I did it. I managed to pay extra for stuff. I don't know. I'm not very good at this sale shopping thing. But apparently a lot of people are. But that is not great news for retailers. You know, this is not people or, frankly, American manufacturing jobs. Not so great either. Like, it's funny. I mean, we talk about this. Like, we don't want our jobs to go other places and, you know, globalization, blah, blah, blah. But does anybody, I was just kidding because I really don't want to pay more for stuff. Nobody says that. Hey, I would like to pay more for those goods.
When offered an opportunity to pay less for something, most people are probably going to choose to pay less for it.
No. And so, yeah, it's not wonderful news, but you know, the economy is still moving, and it's good news for mobile people who who their job is to make it easier for people to buy things on mobile devices. And it's good news for Amazon. Consumer Intelligence Research Partner says Amazon sold 5 million Echoes since it existed.
Oh, yeah, that's
5
right.
million.
Echo's kind of a big deal.
I
bought
a big thing. 3 million of them.
Good for you. I almost bought 3 million Google Homes because you can still get it right now on sale all the way down to like $80, $75.
See, but you don't need it.
But $75. If I was going to wait 3 months to get another one, then I'd be paying $50 more than what I pay right now. So I might as well buy it now. Now, actually, totally telling the truth, I actually did buy another one, and then I ended up canceling it because I had total regret. Like 10 minutes later, I was like, I don't need that. Yeah. Like, just because it's on sale doesn't mean I need it. Even though I would love to have another one, I'll go ahead and wait until it's the right time.
Yeah, I mean, I only have 3 Amazon Echoes, and I did, and it was even it was cheaper. The Dot was cheaper than what I bought it for, and I thought, maybe I need one for, I don't know. But
I don't know. I don't know if I need another one, but I just apparently do. Yeah. This is the sickness of this time of year, is that you see these discounts, especially, I mean, they've done online, especially e-commerce sites have done a really good job at extending this out. It used to just be a day. Now today, of course, is Cyber Monday. Estimates say around 122 million Americans are going to be shopping online today because it's yet another shopping holiday, I guess, if you want to call it that. The retailers have gotten really good at spreading this out and kind of covering time that used to be dead. You used to not shop on Thanksgiving, and now like there's huge, all these huge sales that happen to distract us from our food, from our turkey, and from our most importantly from our family.
Well, I am making an effort to change today to unsubscribe Monday. Because, and I'm not talking about podcasts. Keep subscribing to podcasts. I'm talking about emails. Like, because, because I didn't check my email on Friday. And then over the weekend, they're just everything you've ever even thought of buying.
Or every random thing you signed up for accidentally and didn't know it.
Yeah. So this morning, I was just like, unsubscribe. It felt really good, actually.
It's a good way to go.
Well, if you were in San Francisco on Saturday, you might have gotten a free ride on the public transportation system known as MUNI. Great news, except that the free rides were a result of a crypto-ransomware attack. A MUNI spokesperson told CBS News that the hackers did not unlock the gates. They were kept open as a precaution after MUNI station computer screens offered a message that anyone familiar with ransomware would recognize. It says, "You hacked, all data encrypted." Now, since this is an ongoing investigation, many San Francisco authorities are not talking, but since rides are no longer free, it appears they have isolated the infected machines to bring the system back online. So it looks like this has been developing. So maybe while I was doing iOS today, I missed some things, but I think the hacker demanded 100 Bitcoin or $73,000. And it's unlikely they got paid anything, but has there been more news?
Yeah, well, Fortune has supposedly been in touch with the hacker. The group identifies as Andy Saolis or whatever. They are threatening now to release 30 gigs of employee and customer data. They demand payment by Friday. They also want BART to fix their vulnerable systems, their words, obviously vulnerable because they were able to hack it. Apparently, they wouldn't share a sample of their data to kind of prove that they have the data, so take that with a grain of salt. They say they live outside the U.S., that the attack was automated, not targeted, so they were able to exploit kind of outdated software, and that actually extends beyond just the kiosks, and that's seems to be true because there are people who are connected, but not just kiosk pictures. Like, for example, an employee's Dell desktop PC showed the same message and everything. So it extends beyond just those kiosks.
Bad news.
Bad news. But hey, some people got free rides. I suppose that was probably awesome for them. AT&T released the detail hounds for its upcoming DirecTV Now streaming TV service. The service will start at $35 per month. We already kind of knew that. That's going to include more than 60 channels, all the way up to $70 per month with more than 120 channels. Subscribers can stream 2 channels simultaneously, but the service will not launch with cloud DVR functionality. That's expected for 2017. Almost all major networks are at least part of the over-the-top deal, except for CBS and Showtime. They're not part of this at all. DirecTV Now will launch Wednesday. That's this Wednesday, November 30th. And I mean, the major networks are involved most aside from CBS, except that they aren't going to get live content. They're going to get their content is going to hit the day after. So it's kind of how Hulu did it, right? Where like they'd have you could get all of that content, but you just have to wait a day later. Mm-hmm.
So it's $37 a month for Netflix, Hulu, and HBO Now, and that is all I need. And so this this $35 a month doesn't really get me. But there's some there's separate streaming channel packs with music star Taylor Swift.
Oh.
So if you're
I better get in on that one.
I know you're a fan of the T-Swizzle.
She's in our household, whether I like it or not. So.
And also Reese Witherspoon. She has the Hello Sunshine Network. That's content for and about women.
Okay.
So most of your house is women.
75% of my household is women.
So I don't know. Does this, because I'm fine with, like I said, Netflix, Hulu, HBO Now. I don't need anything else. I have Amazon Prime too, but I actually don't really use it that often. I don't use for watching stuff. So
yeah. I have a hard time remembering to use Amazon Prime too, but every once in a while they have something, and it's included with your Prime. So I don't know if this necessarily appeals to me. I was curious to see because the price is kind of near, as you've heard me talk about plenty of times on the show, PlayStation Vue tends to be the one that I've been selecting. It seems to have the best mix of all the features, including that cloud DVR, which personally I feel like you have to have at this point. Launching without it, I feel like that's a big deficit, as we'll talk about in the next story.
If you like live TV, then you have to have it.
Well, I mean, if you're getting this, then you're getting it for the networks. And if you are getting it for the networks, then why not have some sort of DVR functionality for all that content so that you never have to watch live? I mean, I feel like once you go DVR, it's really hard to go back, you know, and like locking myself into a live or nothing situation just seems so, you know, years ago, a couple of years ago, you know?
So what do you think people are DVRing? Sports?
Yes, although, well, absolutely. I mean, anything, right? Like, so Netflix sure has a lot of series, but Netflix doesn't have the current season of series. And if I want to record whatever those series happen to be, like, just queue it up, then I don't have to worry about it. And it's kind of like as if Netflix did, except it's residing on my cloud DVR. So,
or get Hulu.
Well, but who does Hulu, like, what is their channel coverage? Because I've actually never bought Hulu. I've never gone the Hulu route. Do they have pretty extensive coverage?
They have ABC. I don't know. They have Modern Family and The Simpsons, and that's all I watch on there.
They've got those two shows. Okay, all right.
So, yeah, I don't, I should do some more research. But yeah, like, I think they have
it covers your viewing. And I think that's probably the point, is that, you know, with all of these things, what we're realizing, and again, we'll talk about another option here next, is that they, you know, much like smartphones, they all get you close, but never totally there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They also have whatever network Fargo's on, because I watch that too.
I think that's FX.
Yeah,
I
that
believe.
sounds right. So,
They have HBO On Demand, which is only an additional $5. You get, which is, I mean, HBO Now, right? HBO Go is $15.
HBO Go is the one you get with the HBO subscription. HBO Now is the one that's
separate, and that's $15, right? This is $5, and you get all that content on demand. So that's actually a pretty good deal. But
good point.
So there you go. Roku coming in 2017, so that's left out. Otherwise, most of your major platforms are included there. But I'm on the cord cutter beat today, apparently. So in other related news, Dish's Sling TV is getting a major improvement. That's going to see it best AT&T's DirecTV Now service, at least for now, and better compete with PlayStation Vue. Sling TV is launching cloud DVR functionality first into a free limited beta this December, so you know, this upcoming month, and only for those using Roku devices. So if AT&T left you out in the cold, you just come over here if you've got a Roku. Sling pointed out that its cloud DVR is not limited to 28 days of retention. That's the limit that you have on PlayStation Vue. Your DVR'd content dies after 28 days, basically. Beta users will get 100 hours of cloud DVR, quote, at no charge, which seems to hint at the possibility that cloud storage will carry some sort of an extra fee once it officially launches. But I think this is a really good move, and I knew that that Sling must have been working on this, just because in using PlayStation Vue, like I said, it would be really hard to imagine doing a service otherwise. And here they are, they're filling it out.
So you get no Disney or ABC. I think that's what I read on Variety's article with Sling TV. You get no Disney or no, so that means no Modern Family. So I know, I just think that there's some person out there that has the weird, eclectic, exact same TV taste as me. I'm sure that's not true. But the other thing about these two stories, it made me realize, like, instead, if you don't go for Unsubscribe Monday, maybe we could call it TV Streaming Deal Monday, because it does seem like they think everybody bought their new TV on Friday,
right,
and now they're like, let's just throw everything at people, and they're like, I'm buying, I might get this and this and this. But it's like, it all comes back to what we used to pay. Like, you're paying almost this, it feels like you're paying maybe a little bit less, but you're still getting a bunch of stuff. I mean, even if I had to pay more, I almost feel like I want to just have only exactly what I want and nothing more. Yeah.
Well, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
That's the dream, and that seems to be the dream that we'll never have. Like like we said a few minutes ago, it always seems like these services kind of get there, but they never fully get there. And you have to feel like that's just kind of by design, right? You're screwed either way. It's kind of like on the radio. All the stations take their ad breaks at the same time. Like, there's rarely ever a way to like skip from this one that's in an ad to this one that isn't, so that you can fill your listening without listening to ads. It's like they're all together making things uncomfortable. So you have to choose the best of the of all the deals, and it never quite gets you there 100%.
That's true. There's also the language of free versus at no charge. So the beta is free, but the at no charge, it says storage is at no charge, which kind of means that they maybe will charge for it later.
Yeah, or maybe it ends up being the kind of thing where your cloud storage capacity, like maybe there are different tier. I don't know. This is pure speculation, but I was trying to think through this. Like maybe they end up charging for certain capacities of cloud storage. But it still is the kind of thing like with many DVRs where as it fills up, it gets rid of the older stuff. You can also save things that are important, protected content. Let's say if you definitely don't want it to delete that time you were on the news and you want to show everybody that segment where you were on the news for 3 seconds. You could do that.
Got it. So. Well, Silicon Valley has long embraced the move fast and break things ethos, but imagine if what Silicon Valley is building is an 18-wheeler capable of barreling down a freeway with nobody at the wheel. Today, Backchannel explains how back in May of this year, autonomous trucking startup Otto, the OTTO, managed to violate Nevada's autonomous vehicle regulations, which resulted in their purchase by Uber for $680 million. So this piece is a great read. It's a long read. It really makes autonomous vehicle regulation approval sound a lot like the plot to Chinatown. For example, there were laws against operating self-driving vehicles without a person in the cockpit, Nevada laws, but there were no punishments for these laws. So there were laws, but there were no punishments. So just don't break them was the punishment, I guess. And engineers working for the self-driving companies like Google and others, they actually were part of developing the autonomous vehicle rules. So they were lobbyists, Google lobbyists, who were helping develop this regulation. And Otto declined to comment on Backchannel's story. But if you're interested in this at all, I highly recommend it. Otto is now testing self-driving trucks in Ohio. In Otto, Ohio. They're renaming Ohio Otto. But, it was a big stunt. It was like, remember they were delivering a bunch of beer, and we were like, oh, look, that's great.
Look, it's just driving all by itself. Too bad they don't have the $5 million bond to protect citizens of Nevada. Of course, we didn't know that at the time.
I've been thinking about this because when we talked about this story, we got so many emails from so many people who listened to our show. Like it became an obvious thing that truckers were listening to our show. Obviously, they have a lot of time to listen, and they were part of, the people that we're speaking to every day. So I got an email today from trucker John from Indiana. He emailed to tell me like his company contracts with Amazon and just like some of the ins and outs of how it works. And it's amazing. It's like they're not allowed to stop. They have to pick up the stuff and they're not allowed to stop. And it makes you realize that we're demanding all this free shipping. We don't want to buy anything unless we have free shipping. But there are people that have to get it to us here, And so, I really do believe that when we're talking about self-driving cars, the self-driving trucks are going to be, that's at the forefront. That's where a lot of the money is going to be made. And we still don't, in addition to this story, which talks about how a lot of, there's a lot of moving through the regulations, breaking regulations in order to move fast. It's innovation, yes, but like what's going to happen in the future and what's going to happen to all these people who have their jobs, they're truck drivers. And I think that what we've read is that there's that last mile people, like they'll still need a person to get it, not for the whole time, but to get the trucks to that last mile. But it's something to think about.
Yeah, reading through it, it just reminded me of just really kind of smacks to a certain degree of this like Silicon Valley belief that that their efforts are superior to the rules and everything that exists outside of them. Like there were the Nevada law requires a testing license plate, special red plates, which didn't exist on here. And in fact, if they had put them on there, then there would have been a lot of scrutiny behind the scenes on how they were able to get it really, very fast, moved through very fast when they realized that this was about to happen. 10,000 documented miles of autonomous operation, that $5 million bond to protect citizens that I mentioned just a few seconds ago, obviously a ton of paperwork, and not one, but two seated passengers up in front. All that required. Otto just did it anyways, and when they were talking, when they were asked by Backchannel where and how it had been tested, they basically said, we've driven a couple of miles completely driverless without a driver in the backseat, not in California, in some other state. It's just like, I don't know, like this is important. Like this is, when you see the video through the new lens, realizing that they just kind of went for it, even though they really should not have, just kind of pisses me off a little bit. I don't know. I just think it's super irresponsible.
I do too. And yet they got bought by Uber.
Yep, that's your payoff. That's your payoff for being smug Silicon Valley guys.
After the break, what if the truth is out there, but we missed its call? Science writer Sarah Scholes is here to explain. But first, let's take a minute to thank Harry's, the sponsor of this episode. Harry's, they want to make your holiday shopping less stressful. Finding a thoughtful gift that's also useful and practical can feel impossible. But Harry's is a great gift. If you haven't heard of them before, Harry's was started by two best friends, Jeff and Andy. They were fed up with being overcharged for razors, so they started their own razor company, and now they give people what they deserve, a great shave at a fair price. This holiday, Harry's is offering a limited edition shaving set. It's the Midnight Blue Chrome Razor Handle, which can get engraved with initials. It's very pretty. If you're not watching and just listening, you're just going to have to trust me. It is very pretty. 3 of Harry's German-engineered 5-blade cartridges that provide a close, comfortable shave, and foaming gel that smells amazing. It does smell amazing. Beautifully designed gift box that goes for $30 on harrys.com, but as a special offer just for you, a fan of this show, we have partnered with Harry's to give you $5 off your order when you visit harrys.com and enter the code TNT at checkout. Don't forget to mention TNT because that's how they know that you get the discount and they know that we sent you there. My husband uses Harry's. I've given it to him before as a gift. He really likes it. He's a very hairy, so it's great for him. They also offer handles and sets starting at just $10. If you haven't tried Harry's for yourself, go try it. Go to harrys.com right now to get $5 off a limited edition holiday shave set while supplies last. And don't forget to enter the code TNT at checkout. Free shipping ends on December 9th, so act now. That's harrys.com and use the code TNT. And we thank Harry's for their support of Tech News Today. In the summer of 2015, Russian billionaire Yuri Milner, physicist Stephen Hawking, and Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg founded Breakthrough Listen, an expensive scientific research program aimed at finding evidence of civilizations beyond Earth. But science writer Sarah Scholes says despite committing $100 million to the project, they might still miss ET's phone call. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Breakthrough Listen boasts that their instruments are 50 times more sensitive than existing telescopes. Their radio surveys cover 10 times more of the sky than previous programs, and they cover 5 times more of the radio spectrum, and they cover it 100 times faster. How is it possible that they could still miss ET?
I know, it seems impossible, doesn't it? And all of those things are totally true. They're using some of the world's best telescopes, like the Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia and the Parkes Telescope in Australia. These are really huge radio antennas. They're collecting tons of data, and it really is like a giant leap from where we were before. But, and there is a but, we have a couple of problems or things that they could be working on. The first is that they haven't finished building the software that actually analyzes their data. And so they're collecting all of this, but they haven't actually had a chance to look at most of it yet. So if there is a phone call from ET or, the Encyclopedia Galactica, that could actually still just be sitting on a hard disk somewhere in an office, and they wouldn't have any idea. And they wouldn't have been able to check back on it and go back and look and see if the signal is still there or if it has disappeared. And so if they look back later, they get around to the data in a year or so, they check back. If the signal is gone, they don't know if the aliens stopped talking to us because we weren't listening, or if maybe it was just, an airport radar all along. And when you have a big lag, it's hard to tell the difference between the two when they disappear. And the second problem is that they're using only one telescope at a time right now. And that makes it hard for them to tell the difference between these alien signals and human signals, because our technological signals could look a lot the same as an alien signal might. And if you have 2 telescopes looking at the same spot in the sky at the same time, only one of them will see, say, a satellite passing over, and that satellite won't appear in the other one. So if you see something in both telescopes, that's a good indication that it's coming from space. But if you only have one, you can't really make that distinction. And so, they're not guaranteed to know what they're looking at.
And so is that what happened in August with the when the Russians thought they saw some kind of message coming from star, I have this on my notes, 164595?
Oh, that one.
Yeah. I know. I have that written down somewhere on the side so I don't forget the name also. So these Russian astronomers saw a burst of radio waves coming from this star. It's a star that's a lot like the sun. It's about 94 light years away. And all they knew was that they saw a strong burst of radio waves that was fast. And they thought, that looks interesting. That could be from someone's technology. But they didn't say anything about it for right around a year, I think. And so no one could go follow up on it and see if they saw it or see if maybe it was a satellite or a radar or some other kind of human technology. And so, yeah, when you have this lag and no one can kind of double check your work or learn more about the signal, then when people did go back in August, they didn't see anything. And so now it's kind of just this shoulder shrug and not verifiable. And so some astronomers in the SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence community, are worried that Breakthrough Listen is setting themselves up to have exactly this kind of problem.
I have to imagine that one thing that scientists and astronomers and everything are kind of investigating this sort of stuff, looking for extraterrestrials in the sky or extraterrestrial signals of some sort, are really good at, definitely at one thing, and that's identifying false positives. Because, I mean, at this point, anything that's been noticed, unless there's some conspiracy to keep it from everybody, that there's actually been contact, it's all been false positive, right?
Right. Yeah. And if there is a conspiracy, I hope that someone will tell me. But as far as I know, there isn't one. But yeah, I mean, the signals like the ones that the Russian astronomers found, actually, SETI projects get millions of those every year. It's not uncommon at all. Basically everything that you own emits radio waves, and radio telescopes can pick those up. You know, satellites, cell phones, microwaves, Wi-Fi networks. Things that look like they might be from aliens are usually just from us, and they're all false positives. And so that is probably the biggest part of an alien hunter's job, is knocking out all of our stuff.
Well, you have a great anecdote in your story about Contact, the movie Contact, which is one of my favorite movies. And it was sort of gives a good example of what you were talking about, these like follow-up detection devices. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. A SETI project called Project Phoenix, which was a privately funded, project just like Breakthrough Listen. They use two telescopes, like I mentioned earlier, to look at a star and then have the other one looking at the same star. And they had a follow-up detection device at each one where it would process the data in real time. And then if it saw something interesting, thought, I think that looks like, it would send the telescopes back right away to look at it again and to look for these indications that it was a false positive. And then one day, their second telescope was broken, and they said, we'll observe anyway. It'll be fine. And, they got a signal. It looks suspicious, and they didn't have this second telescope and the follow-up detection device. And so they spent a long time, 12 hours, I think, thinking that maybe they had gotten in touch with an alien civilization. And it turned out that it was the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, which is a satellite telescope that just happened to be passing over the Earth, looking a lot like a message from aliens. And so, yeah, I mean, just one day of having it down, and they got a very convincing false positive.
And Jodie Foster calls her computer Elmer, right? So which is for FUD, follow-up detection device.
Right. Sorry, I forgot the actual content part of that. Yes, exactly.
It's her favorite movie. So.
Yeah. So back around 2000, I was very proud of my SETI at home screensaver. I would keep it on all my new devices, and I would be, helping with the search for extraterrestrials. Is there anything like that now? Is there anything that we can do on our own iPhones or iPads to help?
Yeah, actually, SETI at Home still exists. It's still going on. And actually, it is processing some of the data from Breakthrough Listen. And most of the data that has been processed so far from Breakthrough Listen has happened using SETI at Home. So you should totally re-download it and start that screensaver back up again. And so, yeah, all you need is a computer, and it will process data for scientists, and they will greatly appreciate you. And, maybe if we find an alien civilization, you'll get some credit.
Oh, the Moroni made touch with aliens. So one theme that's been recurring throughout the course of this year, since Megan and I have started doing this show, is artificial intelligence, neural networks, all of these, these computers kind of learning and thinking basically through problems, and just the world that's opening up. It's this whole kind of evolution of computing that's taking place right before our eyes right now. Is there any possibility that, or maybe it already is, I have to imagine possibly to a certain degree it is, but does it ever scale to a point to where maybe the integration of AI and neural networks can help improve kind of analysis and detection, so that, when things come in, they don't sit for months and months undiscovered, that it actually all happens in real time? Is that at all where this is headed?
Sure, definitely. And a lot of the searches that are going on right now, like the SETI Institute has a search going on at a telescope in Northern California that processes in real time. But where I think that neural networks and artificial intelligence are going for SETI is actually learning how to see different kinds of signals. Right now, I know there's a collaboration between the SETI Institute and IBM, where they're giving lots of their data to IBM and having their computers kind of learn to look for signals that we don't know how to look for yet, because there's no guarantee that we actually know what an alien signal looks like. And so it's kind of learning what we maybe haven't thought of yet. And Breakthrough Listen is also working toward the goal of processing in real time. They're just not quite there yet. It's a ton of data, terabytes and terabytes, but they're definitely working with it and doing collaborations with the computing industry to make it happen, hopefully soon.
So do you think the truth is out there?
I really like to think so. The universe is a very big place with a lot of planets and possibilities, and I like to imagine, at least in my head, that it's out there.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Sarah Skulls is a contributor to Wired Science. She also writes for Motherboard and The Atlantic, Slate, Popular Science, and more. She's the author of the forthcoming book, Making Contact, Jill Tarter and the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It comes out in July 2017, but you can order it now, pre-order it now on Amazon. She can also be found at sarahskulls.com. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, William Murray writes in about our discussion of the difference between the success of the Snap spectacles and the failure of Google Glass. He says, as I understood it, it was the camera function that killed Glass. Explain to me why it makes it in the spectacles. I have no interest in the camera function of Glass, but wanted the display and the audio. Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question, right? I mean, other than the fact that, there's the possibility that something like Glass open the door, maybe soften the blow a little bit. There's the fact that Glass looked super kind of techie and, almost like a device that people were intrigued by because they didn't quite understand it, while other people were afraid of it because they didn't understand it, versus something like spectacles that really is kind of looks to a certain degree kind of like a joke. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it also calls out that there's a camera there. It's not trying to hide it or obscure it or anything. What do you think?
Well, I think that the whole delivery mechanism of spectacles, the fact that, there were and I guess it's still going on. It was I haven't been following where this the Snap bot is, but just the fact that people were like taking helicopters into the Grand Canyon to wait in line. And, it's just like all of that is sort of just overcome what they really are. Like, I don't think more people are talking about that, like these crazy people that, will pay $1,500 on eBay for the spectacles, than really just the idea that there's just going to eventually be all these people walking around with cameras on their eyeballs. Mm-hmm. But I think that William's question is interesting because it really just brings out the difference between a creator and a consumer. Like what he's saying is, I only wanted Google Glass to have a different display and to be able to listen and see things in a wearable device that goes on my eyes. Like that's what he's saying. And
kind
of
an augmented reality sort of sense.
Right. And so I think that there really are, that's very different. Like being a creator, like wanting to take pictures, using this device to take video and pictures versus just using it to consume all the time. Those are two different things. And I do think it might be a generational thing also. Like I think younger people don't really see the difference. They're just always taking pictures, always. I mean, the line between consuming and creating is more fluid than I think for those of us on the older side of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. And you can get them to match your lipstick, apparently. So, you couldn't do that with Google Glass necessarily.
Right. Well, TNT's fan of the day is Austin Lee Beatty on Twitter, who says, "This is how I listen and sometimes watch Tech News Today TV." So there it is, watching,
a little bit
mostly listening, sometimes watching.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on down there. Is he piecing together? What's he piecing? This is your forte, Brian. What's he doing down there?
It looks like he's repairing a iPhone with a magnetic mat, so that's why he's got all his little screws organized there and stuff. Looks like he's replacing the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the other half over there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Multitasking.
Yes.
So it's not all just folding laundry and doing dishes.
Some people take apart the technology.
Show us how you watch or listen to TNT, even if it's while you're doing dishes or folding laundry.
Yeah.
Just record a video, take a picture of yourself or your setup, post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook. Use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and we will find it.
All right, so not only is artificial intelligence making someone say something that they never actually said in their own voice, now it's apparently possible for AI to analyze an image and then create video of what happens next back on that still image. Researchers at MIT Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Lab have developed a system that shows what the computer believes will happen next in a given scene. So, for example, a photo of a beach, that's all that's provided, right, would result in an animation, a video of the water splashing up on the sand or against the rocks, let's say. There's also a bunch of examples. There's a video down below that'll kind of put all this in animation for you, Brian, where it'll show a picture of some people on a golf course, and the next second and a half is those people walking along the golf course, and it animates this all based on, 2 million unmarked videos that it learned from. So it was fed all of these videos, and then it has 2 different neural networks, one that actually generates the video, and then one that discriminates the output of that video that's generated. And at a certain point, the one that's generating the video gets good enough at tricking the other neural network that's discriminating what it's seeing. And so at a certain point, it gets good at creating something that's somewhat believable.
So what am I going to do next?
That's a good question. We're probably just going to sit here and keep talking, which I think means that this show would actually be really easy to replicate. We'll have the AI that replicates what we say, coupled with this AI. I mean, all we need is the 2 shot of us sitting here, and then scan that over the course of input 45 minutes and show. And that's it. And feed it news stories for the past 24 hours. So we'll learn it with some news stories.
As long as we have universal basic income. Whoa.
Yeah, see, it's being animated. I don't know how you did that, but apparently the TriCaster has this neural network.
Great.
Inside.
I guess, yeah. Like I said, universal basic income, we need it. And then we don't have to work anymore.
There we go. That's what it's all about, trying to get to the point where we don't have to work anymore. But we do have to work. In fact, we work 5 days a week to bring this show to you every Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us, tnt@twit.tv. You can leave us a short voicemail at 260-TNT-SHOW, and you can find us on Twitter. We're at Tech News Today TV.
And you know what AI could do, but we don't have it working yet, is find the best episode from all of our shows, the best moments from all of our shows on Twit for this year. If you are an AI, or if you have a favorite moment that you've remembered and kept somehow, please visit twit.tv/bestof to submit your favorite moments. You won't see Tech News Today there, I don't think, because we have used that AI we were just speaking of to create 5 new episodes, and they'll be awesome.
We got plans. We're looking into the future with our AI.
Yes.
We already know.
And subscribe to our show. You can do that at twit.tv/TNT. There's a subscribe button there. But if you just are in whatever podcatcher you use, then you can subscribe through there pretty easily. And if you want to tweet at me about what I'm going to do next, I'm at Megan Maroney.
And I'm at Jason Howell on Twitter. Thanks to our technical director, Brian, for animating things and making us look good. Thanks to Burke for words on the screen and helping us in the studio day by day. Kevin for editing. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.